Why do we root for bad people? Not flawed heroes. I mean actual bad people. Criminals, liars, manipulators. People who, if we met them in real life, we would probably want to get away from them immediately. And yet, when we watch them in movies, something weird happens. We want them to get away with it. We want the plan to work. We want them to win. After the movie ends, we have that moment where we're like, wait, why was I rooting for that guy? That's what makes movies about bad people so interesting. They don't just show us someone doing terrible things, they pull us into their point of view until we start following their goals, almost like they're our own. In this video, I want to look at how movies make us root for bad people. The movies do this through perspective, style, and justification. Basically, movies put us close to immoral characters, make their world feel exciting, and show us why they think they're right. And just before we even realize it, we're not just watching bad behavior, we're participating in it. The first reason we root for bad people is perspective. Movies are really good at telling us who to care about. Usually, whoever the camera follows is the person we start paying attention to. And the more time we spend with someone, the more we understand them. Once we understand someone, it becomes harder to fully hate them. That doesn't mean we agree with them. It just means we start seeing the world through their eyes. A great example of this is in the movie Nightcrawler. Lou Bloom is creepy from the beginning. Immediately, something is wrong with this dude. The movie places us with him. We watch him try to find work. We watch him discover crime journalism. We watch him buy a camera, learn the job, and slowly get better at it. Weirdly, the structure almost starts to feel like an underdog story. He has a goal. He has obstacles as he learns the business. He improves. The problem is that every time Lou gets better at his job, he gets worse as a human being. That is the uncomfortable part. The movie makes us understand his ambition before it makes us fully sit with how disturbing that ambition is. We're following the logic of his success, and because we're watching the story from his side, we start tracking his progress. That's how perspective works. It doesn't have to make someone good, it just has to make them familiar. The second reason we root for bad people is style. Sometimes a movie doesn't make a person appealing because of who they are, it makes them appealing because of how the movie presents them. Music, editing, lighting, camera, costume, and slow motion. All of that stuff matters. A character can be doing something awful, but if the scene is shot like a victory lap, part of us responds to it like a victory lap. That's basically the whole tension of The Wolf of Wall Street. Jordan Belfort is a terrible person. The movie knows he's a terrible person, but it also makes his world look insane. The editing is fast, their performances are huge, the office feels like a sports arena, the parties are ridiculous, the speeches feel like frat parties mixed with a motivational seminar. As an audience, we get pulled into the energy. We're not just being told that this lifestyle is addictive. The movie makes it feel addictive. That's what makes it interesting. The film criticizes greed by making it entertaining, which is dangerous but also kind of the point. Because if Jordan's life looked boring from the beginning, we wouldn't understand why anyone would want it. But because the film makes it feel interesting, we underestimate the temptation. We know it's wrong, but the filmmaking makes it feel fun. That creates this weird tension between what we morally believe and what we cinematically enjoy. The third reason we root for bad people is justification. I think this part is really important. A justification is not the same thing as an excuse. An excuse says they're not responsible. A justification says here's why they think they're right. That's a big difference. A lot of great movies about bad people don't ask us to forgive the character, they just show us the emotional logic behind what they do. In Joker, Arthur Fleck is isolated, ignored, mocked, and failed by pretty much everyone around him. So when he starts becoming more violent and dangerous, the movie puts us in a really uncomfortable position. We're horrified by what he does, but we also understand where the pain is coming from. That doesn't make his actions okay, but it makes them readable. Another big reason we root for bad people is that stories train us to root for goals. Most movies are built around a character wanting something. They want money, power, respect, and revenge. They want to be seen. Once we know what they want, we start tracking whether or not they get it. That's how storytelling works. Will they succeed? Will they fail? Will they get caught? Will they get away with it? even if the goal is morally wrong, the structure of the story makes us care about the outcome. In Nightcrawler, Lou wants better footage. That is obviously a horrible goal because better footage usually means someone else is having the worst night of their life. But the movie gives us the rules of his world. Get there first, get closer, get the shot, sell the footage. Once we understand the rules, we start watching him play the game. That's the trap. We're not rooting for Lou because he's a good person. We're rooting for the momentum of the movie. This is where audience complicity comes in. The movie gets us emotionally invested before we can fully morally distance ourselves. Maybe we laughed too much. Maybe we admired the confidence. Maybe we wanted the plan to work. Then suddenly, the movie reminds us. In The Wolf of Wall Street, the lifestyle is funny and chaotic and entertaining. But underneath all of that are real victims. Jordan's entire empire is built on taking advantage of people. In Nightcrawler, the ending is especially unsettling because Lou is not really punished. If anything, he is rewarded. He becomes more successful, he gets more power, he grows the business. That is the scariest part. The movie is not saying Lou is bad, it is saying the world has a place for someone like Lou. The system rewards him because he gives people what they want. And honestly, that includes the audience, because we watch too. So why do we root for bad people in film? I don't think it's because we secretly approve of everything they do. I think it's because movies are really good at guiding our emotions. Perspective makes us understand them. Style makes them exciting. Justification makes them feel human. And story structure makes us care whether they succeed. By the time we realize what we're rooting for, the movie has already made its point. Bad characters show us something uncomfortable about storytelling. A character does not need to be good for us to care about them. They just need to be close. And once a movie puts us close enough to someone, morality gets complicated. We start by watching them, then we understand them, then we follow their goals. And somewhere along the way, we watch ourselves rooting for them. That's what makes these movies so powerful. Not just that the characters are bad, but that for a little while the movie makes us see the world through their eyes. And once that happens, it becomes a lot harder to pretend we were only watching from a distance.